Okay, what's up?
Hey, so
Okay, yeah,
how are you?
quick. Yeah, pretty good. How are you? If you could just do a quick intro for the chat, that'd be great, and then we'll just get started. So just
Sure.
say
So,
your tag and where you're from, and how long you've been playing, and your goals for the game.
so my tag is Kellenheller. I've from Fort Myers, Florida, which is south of Tampa. I've been playing for about 7 years, I would say, since around 2015. And my goals for the game are to pretty much be the best player in my region.
Okay, sounds good. So all right, let's get into the plan. What was your
Yep.
plan for the lesson?
So I just kind of wanted to have this lesson be a setup lesson where we can kind of talk to each other and figure out what we think would be a good approach to a long-term plan. Because I didn't want to just have one lesson, learn a couple things through a VOD, and then just kind of have go on my way. I wanted to really work with someone who's going to actively uh, care about watching me improve
Yeah,
over
so
a
you're
pretty long
looking for
period of
more
time.
of like coaching than like a lesson. That makes sense.
Exactly,
Okay, okay,
100%.
okay.
So yeah, that's pretty much the goal here. And so I just wanted this to be more of an orientation than anything. I do
Mm-hmm.
have some melee specific questions I wrote out
Okay,
that I
that's
wanted
good.
to dive into, but I actually don't really have a lot of VODs of me playing. I mean, we can look at some on YouTube, but I don't really think I have any that are worth looking at, to be completely honest. A lot of stuff is over a year old. My region doesn't film a lot of our stuff, and I don't actually have access to net play.
Okay. Who do you play?
I play Falco.
Falco. Okay, okay.
I have a secondary Fox that was my main for the first 3 or 4 years that I played, but for the most part, I just play Falco now.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So just moving forward based off of what you said so far, VOD review is definitely the best way to improve.
Yep.
Um, just because I'm able to see a lot of things that you might not be able to because it's like your own play, and so the outside perspective, like I can pick up a lot of things that you might not like mention if you were just telling me or asking questions. So I think the VOD review is definitely the most important for like the future lessons going forward. And like having, you don't need like a recording, just the Slippy files are fine.
Yeah, gotcha.
Yeah, that was all I had to say on that.
Well, I can definitely do my best to get some of those. It's just without having Slippy, it's kind of difficult to actually.
Yeah, maybe you could like go to a friend's house and they have Slippy on their Wii or something like that.
It's part of my plan to have everything kind of set up with NetPlay and having a good Slippy setup and everything set up by January 1st this year. So I'm putting some investments towards that as well.
Okay, okay,
Having the internet people come out, I'm supposed to be getting the best internet available for my area, and I'm also buying a computer for it as well. My laptop isn't quite good enough to really run NetPlay.
okay,
Um,
sick. You're making moves. I like that.
yep.
Okay, so well, what would you like to spend our time doing right now?
So I think for today, I'd like to. We could definitely. I could find a VOD that we could go over of mine for
Mm-hmm.
sure, just so you can just kind of see around where my skill level's at and what I can do to improve on. But I kind of wanted to go into a series of questions first that I kind of wrote down. They're kind of random and have just genuinely been things I would think about at a random time over the last week or two since the first time I messaged you, and just thought, okay, that's something I want to make sure I ask him at a certain point. Some of them might be rather vague, and if they are, just let me know and I'll try to be more specific about what I mean.
Okay.
But yeah, so so for example, the first one was be more of something that would require a lesson, I think, than just like a hey, what is the answer to this? But
I can give
for
a
example,
short answer.
sure. So like the first question I have is how can I practice being better at C stick down stuff?
Define C stick down.
So, for example, something that I've been kind of trying to do a little bit recently, I have a Martha friend of mine that I've been playing a lot of friendlies with, is when he can do a get up attack, when he misses a tech, I'll dash dance near him holding C stick down just so that way I can immediately do a forward smash out of it. Because if I noticed whenever I was holding just holding crouch, he would just roll away from me, and I'm not always exactly fast enough to get to that as much as I would be if I can just kind of bait him into doing a get up attack. So just
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that's exactly a reliable setup for that, but just a lot of things that require crouch cancel. I feel like I don't have like a true understanding of more than I've just kind of like learned to use at certain times in the game, if that makes sense.
Kind of. Um. Hmm. So like obviously like C stick down and crouch cancel are sort of like two different mechanics. Um.
Yes.
So like In my mind, they're just completely different. What I'll say is that so I think that bait you're using, where you like dash dance and you hold C stick down, I think that's probably pretty good. Um, I personally don't use anything like that, but it sounds pretty good. I think most of the time, just like any character being in like Marth being in like a mistech state, is you're gonna have to read uh anyway. You know, like you could do the dash dance and the C stick down, and Marth could just roll away. He doesn't necessarily have to try to hit you. So a lot of times I'll just sort of try to like read an option there anyway. I don't really work too hard on, like, I think that's just, it's kind of like it's not forcing, as they would say in like chess or something. Like, you dash dancing and holding C stick down isn't forcing them to get up attack. It's kind of just like a cool little trick, but that's not really affecting whether you're like better at the game or not.
Okay, I understand.
Um, can you clarify maybe more what you mean about like CC stuff, or like your confusion over that?
Yeah, so I think I don't actually even have a proper understanding of the difference between C stick down stuff and crouch canceling, and just kind of
Ah,
the
okay.
balance between the two of them more than anything.
Yeah, so ASTI down means that you will become airborne for like a frame, and then, or it's not even like a frame, I think it's like part of a frame. I don't know, I don't remember exactly, but basically it just causes you to empty land after you've been hit. Um, so you get 4 frames of landing lag because you basically just like they hit you and you just insta empty land and you get 4 frames. But CC is you actually have, I believe, 2/3 hit lag and 2/3 hit stun or something like that, or one half of one of those. But basically, you have reduced hit lag and hit stun, and there. So basically, there are situations where like CC will like, if like moves will knock you down in ASDI down, where they won't knock you down out of CC because CC has less knockback. So, like, for instance, there are spots where, like, for instance, on like a get up attack, a lot of get up attacks knock down at really low percent. So, like, for instance, against like Fox, I'm pretty sure his get up attack knocks down Falco at 0 or very close to it. And so, like, if I'm, let's say I'm dash dancing and I hold C stick down, his get up attack will knock me over.
Oh,
But it,
really? I wasn't aware of that.
yeah, but if I'm crouching, it won't knock me over because because it's like a reduced knockback multiplier. So by being in the actual crouching animation, you will take like literally like less knockback and hit lag, which usually lets you act faster than just like an ASDI down. Because a lot of times you get the like ASDI down plus the CC. So you basically get reduced hit lag and then an ASDI down.
Okay.
So basically, CC, like crouching, is just more powerful than ASDI down, and ASDI down is sort of like a like semi CC. Like, if you are already in like a move, like if you can't like go into your actual crouching animation, then so I'm not sure if you, so just to re-explain really quick how ASDI works. So ASDI down doesn't require the C stick. Um, ASDI uses the control stick inputs if the C stick is not pressed. So if I forward smash and then I never I forward smash with the C stick, so the C stick is pressed to the right, and then I let go of the C stick and I just hold down on the control stick. Um, if I'm hit during that point, like anytime during the forward smash, I
Like
will
before
get
you just go into crouch.
I will get an ASDI down.
Okay.
And if they wait too long, then I'll go into crouch and get the crouch cancel. Uh, so
So
the
when you do that, it switches it if you don't then hold C stick as well. Is that correct? So like
yeah,
you would
so
go from
the
ASDI
C
to
the
crouch
C
cancel.
stick is like an override where, like, sometimes, for instance, let's say I'm doing like a wall ride up B, and somebody's gonna like hit me out of it into the stage, so I need a tech. A lot of times you want like a wall jump tech, right? So you have to hold up on the control stick and tech. But what that does is it causes you to ASDI up. And a lot of times you want to ASDI towards the stage to get closer to the stage to make it easier to tech just in case. Like let's say you're wall riding and they're gonna down smash you at the ledge. You don't want to ASDI up. You want to ASDI in. So in that situation, you would hold the control stick up to make sure you did the wall jump tech, and you would hold the C stick towards the stage to get the ASDI in. So the C stick ASDI is only really when like you need to use the control stick for something else. But I would say that like as a pro player, the majority of the time, like if let's say I'm like nairing or something, and then I'm in my landing lag from my nair, and I see that they're gonna hit me, I will basically never touch the C stick there. I will always just like hold down. Or if I'm dash dancing and I see my opponent running at me and I think they're about to hit me, I will hold down on the control stick out of my dash dance rather than the C stick. Uh, just because, like, think about like let's just say I am dash dancing and I'm holding down on the C stick. When they hit me, I'm just gonna go into neutral. So like if I'm holding down on the C stick and I'm dash dancing and they jab me, I just go into like my standing animation. And sure, I'm still ASDIing down, but if I'm holding down on the control stick and they jab me, I'm now crouching. And if they jab me again, that second jab is gonna get crouch canceled, and I'll probably be able to like shine them out of it or something like that.
Okay.
So hopefully
Yeah,
that explains.
you're actually explaining this a lot better than I had an understanding of it for. So it's helping for sure.
Okay, great. Yeah, and that's pretty much the basics of how it works. With what like CC versus ASDI, and we can go over like specific instances for stuff like that later.
Yeah, I think that's definitely something I'm going to want to go over. So a big thing I want to kind of work on is like not just kind of asking questions like that, but like finding ways to set up in Slippy or 20XX or whatever, how to practice those things as well. Because I definitely like I feel like I understand it when you're talking about it right now, but then when I try to put it into action, a lot of times I need like a couple weeks of practice to actually see it be usable in game.
Like just CCing in general, right?
Yeah, just having like a really good understanding of like for example when you were talking about the wall ride thing, I never really put that together. That's exactly how that worked. So that's going to change the way like immediately I approach that. So
to be fair, there aren't that many of those.
Okay.
I think that is like that like the reason that came to mind is because in like outside of stuff like omps attacking where clearly you need like two different angles, or like slide off DI, sometimes you need two different angles on like the control stick versus the C stick. The only time, yeah, that's like it's just basically one of the only times it's really relevant is the wall ride thing, and that's why I thought of it. There's not like a million of those that you have to know or anything like that.
That's kind of what I was thinking it was. So it's good to know that that's not just part of the memorization.
Yeah, and like for practicing stuff like CC, I think a really good way to do it is just like whenever, like just as like a way to practice it. Like you're in your practice games, and every so often when you're about to shield because you think they're about to hit you, just crouch instead. Like try like laser walk forward crouch and stuff like that. And just kind of see what happens. And you'll notice there are a lot of situations where people, like, let's say, short hop nair into you and give you a CC and stuff like that. It's especially really good, I think, in the Falco Ditto, because at 0, if you CC down air, you can just shine him out of it and stuff like that. Like, so you can CC versus the laser, shine, and the down air at 0, and so it makes crouch really, really strong at low percent. But yeah, just in general, I think that's like the best way to practice it. I would say using CC super effectively as Falco is a little bit complicated and advanced and stuff like that. And I would say I don't even have like a great, Like I would say that every time I use CC and I get a punish out of it, now at my current level with Falco, I'm like, yeah, good job. That was sick. Like you're so smart. Like I literally like it's like I consider it something that's like not super easy to use with Falco.
Okay.
Uh because mostly he doesn't have like CC dash grab. Like CC dash grab is just like the thing that every character in the game uses, and then for Falco it's kind of not. And so you're basically forced to either CC shine, CC down tilt sometimes, or you're forced to go for the grab. And he's just not like Fox. You just run all the way across the stage and you crouch, and you're like, let's see what happens. But Falco, you don't really have that, and so it's like knowing when to use CC is a little bit more complicated, but I think just sometimes shoot a laser and crouch after and see what happens. And that was basically how I learned what I have now, and I wouldn't say I have it like complete now, but I think that is how I learned what I have at least.
Gotcha.
It's kind of sick because you'll just like laser a Marth and then crouch, and then they'll do the thing where they like dash in short hop fair to try to catch you, and you just CC the fair, and then you just hit them out of it, and you're like, oh. And like your brain will record that as like a positive experience that you can just access later.
Yeah, that's definitely a spot that I've actually been using it in exactly. Just because I've only been playing against this Marth basically for the past like 2-3 weeks.
Yes, laser crouch is crazy good against Marth. One of the best characters against, or that it's one of the best characters is Marth to use it on. Like Marth and Sheik are really 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 good to use it on.
It's like that, and then like laser F tilt are the two things that I've kind of really started to use a lot against Marth. I've realized.
Laser F tilt
Like
when
in neutral,
it's
like
nah.
like as an approach option, kind
Okay,
of.
no, it's horrible against Marth. Sadly.
Is it?
Yeah. I think Marth is probably the worst character to laser forward tilt, and it's because
Really?
yeah, because unless you have the like task spacing on the forward tilt, he can still shield grab it. Whereas like there's like a lot of characters where laser forward tilt is like literally safe on shield, but Marth, if he's just super slightly closer than you thought, he can shield grab it, and then that could be your life.
Okay.
I think if you're in a position where the laser F tilt is guaranteed to combo Marth, then I would say laser dash attack is better. And if you think the forward tilt might not hit and you're kind of just trying to like pressure with it, I would say not to use it against Marth at all. It's rather unfortunate.
Okay. Yeah, I definitely noticed that it was like just something that I've really been kind of focusing on spacing a lot recently. So maybe that's the only reason it has been working is I have been super focused on the spacing when I do approach with it.
I guess it's kind of like if you land with a laser at the exact spacing where the forward tilt will hit, um, that means you're right outside of Marth's grab range, right?
Yeah.
And that is the perfect place to like dash dance outside of his shield and like scare him and set up for dares and nares and like things that'll really lead to a big punish. So it's basically like if you're able to set up the spacing you're setting up, there are better options that you can do because a forward tilt, laser forward tilt might hit Marth, but you're not killing him.
So would you say like those better options would be kind of do the laser and then realize that you're in that spacing and then kind of make a decision from there on if you
Yeah,
like
yeah,
jump
exactly.
and dash shine or something?
Like no, I would say okay, so like basically confirming laser spacings is Falco. That is like the biggest part of the character is like
Yeah.
you move around and they move around, but then when the laser hits, you're like, it's this spacing. And so what I'm
Mhm.
saying is like, yeah, something like you land a laser at that range and then you do something like dash back, dash in, down air, or something like that.
Mhm.
Or you land a laser at that range and then you do dash back laser in place, and then you set up an approaching laser or something like that. Like it's sort of like a range where you have a little bit of pressure, and you're kind of like capitalizing on that pressure immediately, and like basically you're taking like the $2 consistent win rather than like the jackpot. Whereas like you are in a range where the jackpot is like a higher percentage, so you should kind of just go for the jackpot because like that's the issue is that taking like the easy win forward tilt can just get you grabbed and you'll just die.
That makes sense.
Not to mention he can probably just like crouch like CC the forward tilt and grab you. It's just not like a great move against him, sadly.
That makes sense. I guess I was just kind of looking for something to use like with the laser, but it makes more sense to just kind of approach it more carefully.
Yeah, exactly. Like the scariest thing for Marth is for you to be at that range anyway, because you're able to like pressure him and stuff like that.
So going through couple more of these questions, I have like a ton, and I don't want to like spend the whole hour just
Yeah,
on
yeah,
this.
yeah.
But just some of
We
the other
can
ones
we
that
can
like
like
stick
move
out.
on or switch questions whenever you want. Like you basically control the whole lesson. I'm just here to help you out.
Okay. So the next thing I just wanted to kind of touch on for just a second, because this is going to be something that I think when I have a better PC setup and like you can like see me in my practice setting or something, which I think I want to have in the future better. Um, the first thing is I want to work on an optimal ledge dash practice routine.
Mm-hmm.
So like that's kind of important to me is like actually getting good at ledge dashes. That's going to be like one of the major focuses I have, and I really want to figure out how to get genuinely world class level at it. Um, that's for sure what going to be for me one of the absolute biggest things over this next year is putting in whatever I have to accomplish that.
Okay. I I wouldn't think too hard about it. Once you set up like a consistent routine for ledge dashes, it's pretty normal. You're like, man, like in the next year, I really hope to be super good at taking a spoon and like getting food in it and putting it in my mouth. It's kind of like, nah, like you got it. Like basically, it's like once we kind of set you up practicing it consistently, it's not something that you'll need like you won't need to like focus on it or put
Yeah,
like
it's more of a
you're not gonna need
confidence.
mental energy towards it. Is all I mean.
It's more that I just want to have like the confidence to go for it every time if I
Yeah,
want to, as opposed to other things. Because
definitely.
right now, like I'll do it, but I feel like I'm only doing it in response to when I realize people are punishing my other options, and I feel like I'm cornered into using it because I don't feel confident enough to actually just use it off the get go in
I
matches.
see. I think that that's not the worst place to be at. Um, a lot of this game and getting good at it is finding the things that are like most negatively affecting you and moving past that and like fixing them as quickly as possible.
Hmm.
And Falco has way better ledge options than most characters, uh, like that aren't ledge dash. Like he has the double laser, and he has the platform lands, and he has the side B, and he has the double jump, aerial mix ups, and stuff like that. Like I would say that like ledge dashing with Falco, especially ledge dashing really well, is something that is good, but it's kind of something you can add in at any point. Like it's how do I describe it? Like it's not like ledge dashing for Falco is not foundational. It's like a nice piece of Falco that you definitely want to have, and will make sure you're going to be confident in it. Um, but just know that it's probably not the thing that's holding you back right now.
I don't think it is for sure. I think that there's so many things holding me back right now that to
Mm-hmm.
put one thing on it is just completely ridiculous.
But we can definitely go over it, and we'll like we'll have you screen share probably, and just do a bunch of them, and we'll talk about it.
So I'm just gonna kind of run through some of the questions real quick, just because
Perfect.
I
Yeah,
do
go
kind of
for it.
want to find a VOD that I guess we can watch together. So I want to figure out a better understanding of slide offs for myself. I actually got the opportunity to hang out with Mewtwo King for a couple days recently, and
Fun,
we
fun.
didn't get quite as many games as I'd like to get in with him.
Mm-hmm.
But he was showing me how to basically, you get thrown up on a platform by Marth, and if they jump up and they up air you, and you tech roll to the left or right, you can do a slide off. I don't feel like I've ever properly got the knowledge of how to do that into my brain, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Okay.
Um,
So there are pieces of slide off that are evil and arcane, and it's best not to think about them until you're really stupid good. Like what I'll say is that like people have made charts about it, and I don't know what the chart says. Like I don't remember it. Like
yeah,
I'd say that like probably like I've asked Cody about it, and like he doesn't even follow the chart. He just has like a thing or two that he does sometimes, and it works sometimes. Like I would say that this is something that like the meta's not fully caught up on. Like otherwise, you know, people like me and Cody, we would definitely have every possible percent and thing memorized, but it's actually kind of complicated. Um, but there is like a sort of a basic level that you need to know,
Mhm.
and so
And that's what I kind of want to
yeah,
get
yeah.
to.
I just want to explain that it's not like sometimes you'll get hit and you'll be like, "Why didn't I slide that off?" And it's like, "Don't worry about it." Like
Yeah,
just
we're not chess engines.
do your best to make sure you can slide it off, and when it doesn't happen, just don't worry about it too hard for now. Just try to get it happening more often. And okay,
Which
so
I just feel like I'm not not even getting it a single
yeah,
time.
so basically, the main slide off option against most characters is C stick down, control stick off the platform, like in the cardinal. So they're both at like one is straight down, and for instance, one is like straight left, and that would be how you deal with Martha up air. That's how you slide off Martha up air.
Yeah, that's what he was telling me, but I just haven't been able to get it, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
So there's some weirdness with it where basically if Marth does the very late one, so there's like tech hit and then there's like tech hit, like at the very, like it's basically at the very end of your tech roll. You don't need to know the exact specifics, but basically like the game thinks that Fox is like a centimeter off the platform, not on the platform at the very end of your tech roll. Like it's just the way like the game is like aligned number wise that Fox is, or Fox or Falco, it doesn't matter. Like you're slightly, the spacey is slightly off the side plat. And so if you hold C stick down and then you hold off the platform, you won't get the slide off because it doesn't think you're on the platform. So there's no platform to slide off of. And so what you would actually have to do is, and this is why you might have heard Leffen or Cody talking about C stick notches. And so basically, do you have Firefox notches?
I do not. I have a pretty standard controller.
Okay. Do you know like okay, so basically
I
think
know they're
about
like the same thing as what is it with the wave dash notches? I think.
yeah. Okay, so basically, like imagine you're going straight down and then you go super slightly to the right. So it's like the steepest downward and like just barely to the right you can go. Okay, just imagine that angle, like the Firebird.
Okay.
And then, so imagine that you are on the right side platform of Battlefield, and you're tech rolling to the left. So you're tech rolling to the center. And so what this means is now you are above the air and the platform, or you're like, there's air below you, and the platform is like 1 centimeter to your right and below you.
Okay.
And so what you do is you actually would do the C stick all the way down and super slightly to the right. And so what that'll do is when your ASDI hits, instead of just ASDIing down, it ASDIs you slightly in, like that 1 centimeter, so that you're now over the platform again, and the slide off will work. Does this make sense?
Yeah, I'm taking notes, so I'm actually just writing this.
Okay, as I'm just making sure the explanation is following through.
It actually is pretty well. I feel like I'm getting like a pretty positive understanding of these topics. So yeah, I definitely feel like I have a decently better understanding of that now. Another thing that might be something that we'll probably need VODs for, I think, but how to look for situations to SDI and then how to practice those situations. Like, so for example, I feel like I'm not too good at reading when a fox is going to come in with a drill or something and then ever being ready to SDI. And that's just somewhere that I want to like start to look for ways to get growth into, and then how to properly SDI those things as well. If there's a way to like set up in Slippy or 20XX or something to have a fox like run at me with a drill and then just to SDI it and then try to like punish out of it or just escape. That's another area I kind of want to work on.
Falco is not particularly good at SDIing Fox's drill.
I just meant that as like an example. I don't mean I just mean like overall like SDI situations that I could
Mm.
use. Like which ones are good. For example, this isn't something I necessarily want to go over now.
Yeah,
But like what situations are good for Falco? Which ones should I be looking for that Falco can apply versus search whatever matchup I'm in at the time?
okay. Yeah, I think like the order I would go through it in is like it's mostly like a knowledge thing of like where like which move and what time and all that to SDI. And then I will usually just try to practice doing it in the game in real matches, um, whenever that situation comes up. And then maybe if the situation comes up like 20 times and I mess it up every time, then I'll set up a replay and practice it.
Okay.
That's sort of how it goes.
So when you say a replay, do you mean like you'll actually set up a bot to kind of do it and
Yeah,
then respond?
I set up like an Uncle Punch replay of the bot doing it to me. Yeah.
So even so, that's something I need to learn how to do properly. Is like a
Okay, yeah.
That's
I would say
what I
that
want to do.
being able to learn to set up replays in Uncle Punch or 20XX, but we'll do Uncle Punch since it's getting a lot better at replays now, is one of the most important things you can do to get better at melee.
Yeah, I definitely would like to spend possibly the first lesson when we're the next lesson going over that. That is the
Yeah, we
major
can do that.
part of it.
It should honestly only take like 5 or 10 minutes. It's very simple.
Okay.
You basically just say, "Hey, I'm controlling the computer now, and I'm recording them," and then you do the actions that you want the opponent to do, and then you say, "Okay, now play that back, and I'm gonna control me," and then you just do your stuff, and then it just plays over and over, and you can practice it. It's actually very very simple to set up. It's a little intimidating when you first see it, but it actually takes like 5 minutes to learn.
Okay. Um, so from there, I another thing that I wanted to go over, and I don't really want to go over this one now, but just kind of what a realistic practice routine looks like on a daily basis, tech skill wise. Like if you have just any general recommendations on things I should just be going on over a daily basis.
Yeah, I would say when you're practicing tech skill, make sure you are recognizing your misses. I think a lot of times what people do when they're practicing tech skills, they just kind of move around and they don't mentally make a mark when they did something wrong. So something that'll help, I think, a lot of times. There's a couple little tips I have for practicing tech skill. One of them is practice sequences. So say like you're like, okay, I'm gonna short hop down air and then I'll full hop waveland off the side plat and then I'll like double jump waveland here, shield drop down air, shield drop laser or something. Like just some random sequence of like
Yep.
10 actions or so. Um, and then executing that is way better because it'll show you like your lack of consistency. Whereas people just kind of move around and do stuff and they will not even realize how many times they're messing up. So that's a really big one is practice a little bit longer sequences and make note of when you mess up and try not to mess up. And the other one is this is a personal thing for me. Some people probably disagree, but I personally think it's better to, for instance, this is just an example, to practice 6 times a day at 10 minutes per practice session, then practicing 1 time per day for an hour. Because our goal is not to become good 1 hour players, it's to become good tournament players, if that is really your goal. um, and so in tournament, we don't play for an hour at a time. We play 6 to 10 times in a day, and we play for 10 to 20 minute periods. And so at random points in the day, just boot up melee, 10 or 15 minutes of practice, and then you're done. Because that's how it's going to be when you actually get in tournaments, or like that's how tournaments really are, and you want to practice for what you're going to play.
Okay.
And there's no science behind that. That's just my personal belief and experience.
No, yeah, that makes sense. I actually I spend a lot of time thinking about like how to optimize like your brain's ability to take in practice and not
Okay,
just like
great.
practicing for the sake of practice. Like I personally am a big believer in just like 8 hours of sleep, and if you don't get that, your practice is almost useless. Is personally just something that I think.
Mm-hmm.
So I definitely like little tips like that, and that actually makes a lot of sense to practice for like 10 to 20 minutes just because of set length.
Mm-hmm.
Um, So yeah, I think from there I have like 15 more questions, and I could keep going into these, but I think from there, let me just boot up YouTube and find a VOD. I
Okay.
don't think they're really necessarily the best, just because I don't. To be completely honest, a lot of these tournaments, I don't even know if I was kind of drunk or not at them. Let me just look around and see if I can find something. The problem is a lot of the ones that I have are going to be from like a year or two ago.
I see. Yeah, that's
Although
that's not great if they're
I
like.
don't think I've improved much from there, to be fair.
Okay.
I hope you can edit this part out of your bot.
I'm not editing anything, man. People have to skip through this. But yeah, no, I like the general direction you're going and like your attitude with this. So I'm definitely looking forward to doing more sessions and giving you some structure and like trying to get you moving up like the ladder of skill.
Yeah,
I
that's
think
that's exactly basically what I'm looking for.
yeah, I think it'll work out well. Just like our general vibe is working very well for that type of thing. I think.
I think so. Oh man, these are all from like 2 years ago. Okay, here's one. This is from like a year ago.
Okay.
Here, I'm sending it to you right now.
Yep.
This is the Falco that is probably the biggest thorn in my side in our region, for this matchup in particular.
Is their tag gross domestic product or is it a different
Granddaddy Perp, which is a type of marijuana.
I was like GDP. I'm like, oh, I can't process that as anything else.
So a little background between the two of us. We both started playing around the same time. This is probably the main person at the moment I'd like to actually get better than.
Mm-hmm.
I spent the first 3 years of playing pretty much only playing with the Shizwiz.
Okay.
Just because he lived in my neighborhood growing up. That's how I got into the game.
Some good practice.
Yeah, very good. I mean, I just got my ass whooped every time. But I was getting four-stocked on a daily basis every time. And then he was playing with the current best player in our region, Flipsy Doodle Rama. I don't know if you are aware of who that is. He was an old top 100 Ice player.
Yeah,
He went on Mango,
yeah, Flipsy.
so he's pretty decent.
I didn't know that was their whole tag. I just knew Flipsy, but yeah.
Yeah, so that's the current best player that goes to our locals. So like my long-term goal would be to basically be able to consistently get first and second place with that guy in the picture.
Okay. Yeah, no, I know the Ice Climbers matchup well, so we can definitely get that guy.
He also is very good at Fox at this point. He recently took a game off of HBox with his Fox.
Well, that's not relevant. What's relevant is we get rid of the Ices, and then when he brings out the Fox, then we'll get rid of the Fox.
That's the main goal. But right now, he only uses the Fox against me.
He only uses the Fox against you. Okay, so we'll do it the opposite way.
Pull out the Ices.
All right, we'll get rid of the Fox, and then we'll get rid of the Ices. That's how we'll do it.
But anyways, going into this VOD, you got it there?
Yep. Let me turn on the screen share. My bad. I got it up on my stream, but I forgot to share it with you. Okay, there we go. You got it?
Yep.
All right. Okay, so you're neutral Falco. Okay, I'm just gonna kind of point things out as we go, and we'll see what I end up with. Okay.
Yeah.
Lazy down air.
Yeah.
Bad.
I was going for the top platform, just auto cancel onto the platform. Yeah, it was a tech flip.
I see. Okay. Then you definitely want to do the down air a lot later.
Yeah, I've actually worked on that dumb tech a lot since then, and I don't really miss it too often, especially in these kind of situations anymore. But that for sure would have been a terrible down air. Just
all right. Well, I'm really glad to hear this was a tech skill error because I was like, oh no. Okay. Um, so this, I don't think you have time here, but this is a great position to like. This is like where you would just hold down.
Okay.
Because if you're at 0 and he hits you with this down air and you got the first frame of crouch out, this is a shine for you. You get a free shine. So that's just an example of like, oh, you're not in a great spot. Instead of shielding, just hold down and see what happens, especially when you're at lower percents, to like learn the CC stuff that we were talking about.
Dumb quick question.
Yep.
Crouch and shield are both frame 1, right?
Yep.
Okay, just making sure.
Nope, good questions. There's nothing in this game that's more valuable than being sure. When you're really sure how something works, it's a great feeling.
That's the exact reason I picked you as my coach.
Okay, sick. Okay. Wow. Okay, this is a small detail, not super relevant to anything, but if you are at a percent where down air will not knock down, you should falling nair here.
What's that percent? Is it like 37?
Something like that. I need to look up the weak down air percent because it's not just a strong down air, like it's the weak down air because you're doing like this meaty one. I would need to look it up. This is actually something that I am personally going to fix for myself very soon. Is that I've just been using the intuitive knockdown of like 35-ish plus something.
That's what I've been doing too recently.
And like I know percents for plenty of other things, and I know that this is a problem, and so it's something that I am personally going to fix for myself very soon, is to fix this. But if they're at low percent and I'm kind of worried about the down air not knocking down, I will nair here. Okay. See, nice. Okay. One thing is you don't want to be moving during invincibility like this. Pick a side platform and just chill there. And then you can full hop out of it, or light shield out of it, or shield drop out of it, etc. You don't want to be like moving like this because you're just going to get hit a lot.
I have recently.
Okay, nice.
I don't think I have this skill at this point, but I've recently been working a lot, and you're probably going to say it's dumb and to do something else, which is what I'm looking for. But I've recently been getting really good at side B cancels. And I've worked a neutral game versus Marth, at least, when they're invincible, of kind of, I'm going to jump up, and if you start to commit towards trying to guard my side B to the platform edge cancel, I'm just going to drop back down and try to wait out your invincibility that way. It has been something I've been working on a lot recently.
So you're saying you do like full hop and then you 50-50 the side B to top plat versus just like landing out of the full hop?
Yes, if I feel like it's safe.
Okay. That is better than what you did here, and versus some characters in some spots it's probably fine. But I would say learning to just kind of get on a platform and get your light shield set up it's critical to get experience using that, and it's like the most general way to survive invincibility against like the majority of characters in the game. So just pick a plat, get your light shield up, just kind of set up camp. Sometimes what I'll do is I'll do something where like I stay on the ground and then they're falling here, right? And then if they go here, I just wait, and then if they try to land on me, I'll roll, and then if they drop through, then I go up here. And I have like a lot of little tricks like that, but I would say for now, just get used to like side plat, light shield, don't move, and most things in the game won't be able to counter it. Moving around is really dangerous during invincibility. You're gonna get red a lot more. Okay. Okay, movement was decent there. Okay. Yeah. I see. Okay, actually, I like your combos. Your general like combo movement and stuff like that is pretty good even here. The main thing is your neutral game is really lazy right now. At
Yeah.
least in this video.
It's definitely the main thing that I've more recently been trying to put work into thinking about what I'm doing in neutral and not just going like you doing like laser dare or something like that.
Mm-hmm. Something that I think is really useful in Melee in general is if you aren't sure of what to do, make them figure out what to do to you. So basically, if you're not sure what's going on and you're kind of confused, just make them work for it. Like if you don't know what's happening, don't just pull the trigger and jump in because you're going to give them something for free. If you feel a little unsure, like when you go in, you should be like, now is the time, you know, and you should be like, yes, it's time. And if you don't really feel that it's time yet, don't worry about it. A lot of people end up in this feeling where they're like, if I don't go for it, then they will, you know, and then they go for it and then they die. And it's kind of like, no, if I can't find a really clean way in, then maybe they can't either, and maybe they'll go for it and I'll just get to hit them. So you always want to be the person who is calmer and making the other person work for it, not the person who freaks out and goes for something out of confusion. So if you're
Yeah, I
confused,
have some insanely bad tournament nerves as well, so that's something I definitely want to go into.
okay, that's a
I
whole
recently
separate thing we can work on.
I recently went into round one of a tournament and I had my Apple Watch on, and before I sat down to play, my heart rate was at 168.
Mm-hmm.
And I just like got destroyed. Like I played terribly. I had no tech skill because I was just like worried I was gonna have a heart attack legitimately.
I see. Okay.
So that's definitely somewhere that needs probably more work than anything else. And that's the main criticism I get from my local peers.
I see. Is that you're a choker.
I'm a very what are they? Someone recently said that I'm a very not flashy, but like I'll be very very good at certain times, then I'll have like very high highs and very low lows. Often, and I think it's very mood dependent. I also have pretty bad, just stupid anger issues when I play, and I just have a bad habit of just getting very angry in the middle of a set, and then only thinking about that, and then getting stuck in a very negative thought loop, and then just kind of losing off of that a lot. Especially if the set's kind of close, and I feel like I'm playing someone that I just feel like I should beat. So that's definitely another area that needs probably more work than anything tech skill or improvement wise.
Yeah,
is just that.
And okay, let me just go over my quick little things for that, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
So obviously there are the physical factors, which is you need enough sleep, you need to make sure you're not hungry, and you need to make sure you're well hydrated. You got to make sure that all those are out of the way every tournament, or everything else is useless. The sleep is less important than the other two. Sometimes you can still play well on no sleep, but if no food or water, you will lose, guaranteed. So that's step one. Step two is you have to. It's like how to describe it. You need to learn to detach yourself from your gameplay, and a lot of times that comes through getting better at following game plans. When people play intuitively, it feels as though like it's you yourself who is being beat down, like literally. You're like, I am putting my soul into this, and they read me and they killed me, and that makes me really angry because I know that I'm not a readable soul. You know, like it's like it gets very personal, and you wanna remove that. The only thing that you actually don't. And the reason is because people want to try hard to win. They want to win with their special spark, and the special spark doesn't make you like the special spark is when you're playing the other dude who is at like level 100 and you're at level 100, and the special spark lets you barely win game 5. But that doesn't matter now. And if you're at level like 7 and you try to special spark some other guy on level 7, and it doesn't work, you're like, oh no, my special spark. I thought I had a stronger willpower deep inside or something. You know, like there's all these feelings that come up, and so it's really all about you change your success from I won the match to I followed the plan. You make a plan and you follow the plan. The only time you fail is when you don't follow the plan. and that shifts the goalposts. Because then what happens is, so if you don't follow a plan, all I can tell you is you need to follow a plan. But when you follow a plan in the video, I can watch it and just say, okay, we'll change the plan here. We'll fix the plan. So you create, you're not losing. The plan is losing. And you can just go home and fix the plan and come back with a better plan. And that is like kind of the way to fix it all. And
I like that.
because if you're trying to use your intuition and you're just trying to win at all costs, you're you don't have a takeaway. You just lose and you're like, next time better. And it's like that. Your brains don't react very well to that. Another thing that I would say is if you have access to VODs, or you can like record your own tournament sets and you lose, immediately watch the VOD back. I swear to you, if you legit want to fix your anger problems with Melee, as soon as you lose, watch the setback, because you will see you are not following the game plan, or holy moly, I dropped 7 edge guards the exact same way. Time to go practice that edge guard. And it'll let your brain put things into like an actionable format rather than just like punching itself for like not being strong enough. So there's all these little tricks that you can do, and I used to rage a lot in Melee, and I don't know if you've noticed, I don't know how much you paid attention, but like the last couple years, basically, I don't really rage when I lose in the same way. And that is because I changed my mindset from like win, 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 win to like I will simply win if my game plan is better. And then when I lose, I'm like, oh man, I guess I need to practice different things, practice more, or learn new things. And that's it. And just repeating that process is how you grow in Melee.
I actually really like that. That's a really interesting way to look at it, and I haven't thought about the plan aspect specifically.
It's huge. It's crazy how much it'll actually affect things.
That sounds like a cheat code kind of thing.
It is.
Huh. Yeah, I'm going to think about that a lot. I think that's a big takeaway here.
Okay, good. We have about 6 minutes remaining.
Okay, let's just go more into the VOD.
Okay. So, the final concept that I want to talk about, which I want you to kind of ruminate on before our next lesson, is the idea that you should be able to tell a story about how you won each neutral interaction. So, when you're here, and you're here in this spot, you're invincible, you come up here, and then from this position, the story is they're here. And so what I want to do is land not on them so that they think they're going to like move back, and then I'm going to wave land into them and shine them, which is not the worst idea ever conceived of. It is a story, so it is something, but you want a better story. Like you want a story of how you got them into a negative situation and you gauged what their reaction was, and then you created a similar situation and you punished something, or you felt that they were getting over aggressive, so you set up a trap that they fell into, stuff like that. When you want as much of the story what's the way to say this is like you want good foreshadowing. And so this doesn't really have foreshadowing. It's just kind of like, there they are, I'm going to make this read and do my move. But you need it to feel like there was more of like a reason behind going for this. And I know that's a little bit abstract, and we can go over it more later. The best way that Falco tells stories is with lasers. And it's him saying like, I hit you with a laser, and then I moved closer, and I prevented you from jumping with a second laser, and then I dashed in, making you think I would approaching aerial, so you did like a shield, and then I did a run-up grab, and you're like, wow, okay, that's like a legitimate story you can tell that it has like, it's not, foreshadowing is not the right word, but it's the idea that like some previous part of the story that you're telling in neutral can be used to like predict or reinforce the result. And like basically the more logic you can apply to why you won neutral will make you win more often. It's kind of like, I don't know, running like a football play versus like running the football play specifically because you know it's going to work because of reasons from all the previous plays and stuff like that.
Mhm.
Um, that's like what you want. You want like real reasons for why it's going to work. Because the more of those you have and the better those reasons are, the higher level your gameplay just is. Okay, that was kind of silly, but you got your combo. Okay, tech skill, weird grab. Yeah, so like this, it's like you're there's not a plan on what to do afterward here. It's just the back air. You
Yeah.
weren't like and so like that is a little bit like what I would consider like lazy and neutral because of that. I think what's gonna happen is we can't fix this issue directly. I think what'll happen is we will go through tool after tool for probably 4 or 5 different little tools of like, oh, you're going to use lasers like this, and you're going to use platforms like this, and we'll kind of go over that, and then hopefully, those are sort of like narrative tools that you can use to start telling stories and kind of getting in that zone a little bit better. That's the idea because it's a little bit. I think it's a little bit too abstract from where you're at right now to really like make use of the concept outside of just generally keeping it in mind. But I think we can give you some tools that'll hopefully help you out there. Ooh, that was so good. Really good combo edge guard. Yeah, your combo game definitely not the problem. Like and this is in the past too, but I would say definitely the combo game's not the problem. It doesn't feel like the edge guard game is necessarily the problem. Definitely not the combo game. It's definitely whoa. YouTube? You can still hear me, right?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. Just the YouTube videos acting weird. Hello, YouTube? Yeah, it's just like not loading all of a sudden. It's really weird.
Yeah, that is odd, especially because it should have just already been buffered.
Yeah, I don't know if my internet's messing up, but it seems like you can hear me loud and clear.
Yeah, you sound fine.
That is so weird. Okay, well, we are 1 minute to finishing anyway, I guess. But
Yeah,
yeah, that's really weird. YouTube just stopped loading.
it's all right. No worries on that. But
But yeah, I think that's basically like a bunch of like big abstract concepts that I want you to sort of like keep in mind and like recognize that they will become important, and like I'm going to be giving you more specifics that you can start like sorting into these piles and plugging into these like abstract tools that we've talked about through in like future lessons.
okay.
Okay, any additional questions for closing today or
Yeah, so in your ideal mind, what are all of the? I mean, I guess this almost might just be better to ask as in a message. But what tools should I have if let's say, money isn't an option? What tools should I have to make the next lesson? Obviously, just completely prepared and have everything ready for it.
uh-huh. Um so I would say Let me think. Give me 1 sec.
Because I knew coming into this lesson I was going to be like heavily unprepared, which was part of the reason I wanted to have this as kind of more an orientation than anything.
So I would say pick a matchup. Can be like Fox or something like that, and just get a few VODs in that particular matchup, and we will find. And especially if you feel like there are confusing games or games where something is like really prevalent, I think those would be good because basically the idea is you give me VODs all versus a certain character. We go over these VODs. I find one big issue from those VODs that we can like really hammer on and make sure you fully understand. And then you spend like a week working on those things that we figured out. And then the next lesson will be like a VOD or two quickly going over, seeing how much you adjusted from the previous week, and then VODs of either the same matchup or a new matchup, and we repeat. And basically, even though the lesson might be against Fox, a lot of times the lesson or like the things that you'll actually learn and gain are going to be things that you'll be able to generalize to other matchups over time, because you'll be like, oh, it's exactly the same as this other character except they fall slower, or they dash slower, or this move is weaker or stronger. That is what I think. Could also You could also do it a different order, where rather than starting with the character and moving from the character to finding the abstract lesson and then implementing it, is you can just be like, I'm really tired of X or Y happening through all these different matchups. Here are the VODs of why this keeps happening. I want to fix that, and we can go over that. So, like, I'd really like you to sort of just look look inside yourself and look at the matches that you have. If you can get VODs, like, watch the VODs back and really try to see, like, what do you feel like you want to, like, do differently, or like how does your, like, compare yourself to Mango, or to me, or to Ginger, or whoever, and just kind of be like, man, like, what would I like my Falco to be accomplishing that it's not accomplishing, and we can go in that direction too. So if you feel like you have more of like a mind towards figuring out an issue and bringing me the issue with a bunch of VODs as examples, that's fine. Or you can just get a bunch of VODs versus a character and bring me that, and we'll find the issue from there. So either direction works. Whatever is most comfortable for you.
Okay, yeah, I'll definitely do what I can to get some VODs the next couple weeks. So I'm probably gonna. So okay, I like that.
Okay, yeah, sounds good. We can continue discussing on Discord and stuff like that, the formatting or how many VODs and blah blah blah. And if you're, I don't know, like, you can just hit me up on Discord about stuff. Like we're kind of already like in the whole coaching thing. So if you're like, is this like a situation where it would even be relevant, like asking you about in a lesson or something? You send me a clip, like, that's totally good. I'll just answer it for you. Like, no big deal.
Okay.
All right, sounds good. I believe you paid me for this lesson. Did you pay for just one lesson so far?
Yes. So
okay.
I was thinking I'll probably pay for another 2 basically next, which I don't want to even do until January.
Okay. Yeah, because of your setup and all that stuff.
Yeah, and then just the holidays and everything. I just want to kind of not really think about it too much, but
okay. Yeah, great. That sounds good. I think this was actually like a really good intro lesson, and we went over some really good concepts and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So, all right, great. Good talking to you. I'll see you on Discord, and have a good one.
Awesome. Talk to you next time. Bye.